So on the majority of our sites, we have a plugin that allows us to completely clone or duplicate pages, posts, sliders, portfolio items, pretty much anything that we tell it that we want to have the ability to duplicate, it'll let us do that. So in order to duplicate pages, once this plugin is installed, if it's not installed, it would need to be put on, and it's very handy to use. It's called Duplicate Post, and once that's on there, you can then go to Pages or Posts, whichever you want to clone. Go to the page that you want to create another page based off of. This is handy. I actually use this a lot when developing, because sometimes it's best to kind of start from a template instead of having to start fresh with something just blank, and then you have to set up all of the structuring that goes with it. Because what happens is sometimes when we import demo content into a site to kind of give it a template, when you create a fresh new page, it can take away from that styling. It can take away the width of it, the title bar at the top, just all the stuff that goes into styling that page. It'll be reset back to the default settings, and all of that stuff will need to be set up again. So we can do this, show you an example here. So here's just an example page. Here's like an example about page. So we've kind of got stuff laid out, got the title bar. Stuff really hasn't been built too much on this, but this is what we have. So we've got that, and then if we want to create another page based off of this structuring, we would go to here, About, or whichever page we want to duplicate, come down here to Clone, and then that will completely clone it and set it as a draft. So we'll just let that load, and now it's set as draft, and this is the one that we would want to, it's the new one that we want to edit then. So we come in here, click Edit, and then we can set up the page how we want it, and all of this stuff will be in there for us to kind of move around, restructure, do what we want with it. And then once we are finished setting up our new page, we can just click Publish, and then that will publish the new page. So what I mean is, when you do this instead of creating something fresh, is because if we go back into this, all of this would be just blank. There'd be nothing in there. Title would be empty. Over here, the template, this would probably be default template, which isn't the full width. And normally, the sites that we do, most of them are full width, and then we just kind of structure them the way we want them. And so if you actually started a fresh new page, it would probably be set to default, which would then need to be set to full width. So this is just one example. So if we keep scrolling down past our content, there's other areas like maybe the code header. This kind of style is a header. The code title. All of this would be blank, so you'd have to set up all of this manually. Just a lot of stuff down here that kind of structures the pages where they are. You'd have to come in down here and do them all manually. So that's kind of why cloning or duplicating is the best route to go. Even if you're not going to make a page that's real similar to one, you can still clone it, remove all of this content in here, and then start with your own, and everything else will then be structured correctly. So if we started a fresh new page, let's do this. We'll let that load. So everything's blank, and like I mentioned over here, this is now default template. So we'd have to switch this to full width. We would have to see Visual Composer is not even open by default, so we'd have to click that, start fresh. You kind of have to build your own rows. You'd have to build your own columns. You'd have to set up the spacing between the rows and columns. Down here, all of this is different. Like this, the code title, this would have to be set to no. Well, the way this theme was set up, this was set to no. So just a lot of stuff is reset, and it can take twice as long to just set up the basic structure of the page and then actually get to move content around in it and kind of set it up the way you want it. So that's kind of why we do the clone page feature. Is it makes building new pages a lot smoother and go a lot quicker. And this also goes along with posts. With the blog post, when you have this plugin installed, you can come here, click clone, and then you can clone any of the blog posts, which also goes with the pages in that it sets it up. It sets up the pages with the correct template. You go in, switch out titles, switch out text, content, and then you're good to go. You don't have to set up the post structure and templates and all that stuff. So that is all there is to it.